Hello besties, let me make this brighter. Welcome back to Bookmas. Welcome to today's video. So as you can see from the thumbnail, from the title, from the little intro, we're gonna be talking about some 2025 new releases. There are plenty out there, but I've written down 30 that I'm really excited for, so grab a drink. I have my little green tea over here. I've been waiting to sip on this together, so grab a drink, grab a blanket, get comfortable. We're gonna sit, we're gonna chat all about the new releases. So obviously we only have a few weeks left until the new year, so I think it's the perfect time to sit, plan out the ones we're excited for, jot them down, keep them in the back of our mind, because there's a lot of new releases. I have the release dates that are out right now as I'm filming this, but those are always maybe subject to change by like publishing, or maybe I have the dates wrong, so take these a little bit lightly. This is what they said on Goodreads I got these all from. All I'm gonna say is the first half of this year is heavy with new releases. We have so many, especially in the months of April and May. Like, completely knock off your TBR if you're excited for these, because these will fill up your May and your April. We're gonna go month by month of the ones that I've written down. Again, I have 30, and I'm really excited for all of these. So starting off in January is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is part of Sarah Adams' interconnected series. I think it's called When in Rome series, but this is the third one in it. The first book, When in Rome, is about the brother of the siblings. The second one is about his sister, I believe, and then this one is about his last sister. I think she's a teacher. It says it's a rivals to lovers romance. Emily Walker hates having her carefully crafted world disrupted, most of all by her legendary nemesis Jack Bennett. Okay, maybe she's not a teacher. I have no idea. Honestly, can't really remember, but I think I have the unpopular opinion where I enjoyed Practice Makes Perfect, the second book in the series, more than When in Rome, and a lot of people loved When in Rome, but they're small town romances. They're really fast paced. I love Sarah Adams' writing. They're perfect palate cleanser, so perfect time to catch up before this one comes out. This one comes out, it says, January 7th, so right after the new year. We're gonna start off with this one, and then we have Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This one I'm really excited for because I'm pretty sure this is the book about the characters from Out on a Limb. If you've read that one, the main characters' best friends, like them as a couple, as side characters, were really prevalent, and I was so interested in their story, and I'm pretty sure this is about them. It's about Sarah and Caleb. This one says it comes out January 28th. It's not part of any like interconnected standalone, but if you did read Out on a Limb, this is about the characters that were like the side characters in there. And also one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs is the title, and I don't think she meant anything by that, but I do love that. And then we have a book that I'm really excited about. I saw this when I was looking through a list of like all the new books coming out next year, and the summary of this one sounds really interesting. This is A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young, the same author of The Unmaking of June Farrow. Let me put my tea down because she's heavy. This one says it's about a woman who investigates her brother's mysterious death while coming to terms with her own haunting past. Basically, she's very connected to her twin brother. She like feels everything he feels, and she knows the day that he passes away. Like, she feels it. She feels that connection snap. It says she goes to California to settle her brother's affairs, and she's forced to rehash the ominous past that they shared and finally face Micah, the only person who knows about it, and he's the only man she's ever loved. It says that she soon discovers the strange connection she had with her brother isn't quite gone, and the more she immerses herself in this world, the more questions she has about her brother she thought she knew. What she uncovers will push her to unravel what happened in the days before his death, but in the end, she'll have to decide which truths should come to light and which should stay buried forever. So not only are these secrets coming out, but there's also a second chance romance happening, so I'm really excited about this one. The summary sounds really interesting, and this one is our last one that I have coming out in January. This one says it comes out January 7th as well. Now into February, we have quite a bit in February that I'm excited about. So the first one is Ali Hazelwood's new release, Deep End. This one says it's about a competitive diver and an ace swimmer jumping into forbidden waters in this steamy college romance. So this one, I guess, is a newer adult romance, but I always found with Ali Hazelwood, she writes such unique characters. They all have really different personalities and really big personalities, and I always look forward to her books. They're always so fast-paced for me. They're always so different from other romances, I feel like, even though they have tropes and quirky characters and similar plot lines and storylines. But I do think that she takes things that people are interested in that I don't know much about, and I like reading about them, like the STEM world, and there's a chess romance, and now we have a swimmer romance. So there's stuff that I don't personally know about, but I'm excited to see like how she does it. Very excited about this one. It says it comes out February 4th. And then we have Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. This one is the second book after Heartless Hunter, which was a huge book this year. This is the Crimson Moth duology, so there's only going to be 2 books. This is the last book, and I'm really excited to see what she does with it, because the first one, I think if you haven't read it and you don't really read too much fantasy, or you like a romantasy, I think this one is so good if you're getting into fantasy. Really fast paced. I read it in one day. This one comes out February 18th, and there's something about a duology that just like scratches an itch in my brain. I love a duology. It's just like you're not committing to too much. You do get more of the storyline, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the second one. The first one is basically about a witch and a witch hunter, and there's high stakes happening. There's kind of like a Regency era type of situation going on where our female main character is kind of like a socialite in the fantasy world, but she's also a witch kind of like hiding undercover and trying to save her fellow witches. And then our male main character, the other character, is a witch hunter, and they're both trying to play at each other, which is really interesting, and I really liked it. So I'm so excited to see how she concludes the story, because the way the first one ended, I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, was a bit crazy. And now we have a whole new setup for a second book for sure. And I've seen some people that have gotten the arc from it and have really enjoyed it, so that's very hopeful. Then we have the third and final book in the, I forgot what this is called, I think this is a Ruinous Love trilogy by Bryn Weaver. This is the Butcher and Blackbird's the first one, and then we had Leather and Lark, and the third one is Scythe and Scythe and Sparrow. Butcher and Blackbird really blew up as well. It's a serial killer romance, but also a rom-com, and the way that she did the first one was so incredible. Like, it was really funny. Like, she got the comedy in the rom-com, but then also the serial killing was definitely an interesting aspect to it, because you have two serial killers falling in love. Very morally gray throughout the whole book. I think this is gonna be interesting when I do finally read this one. It comes out February 11th, if I'm going to enjoy it or not, because the first one was a huge hit for me. I give it like 4 stars, really enjoyed it. But the second one, which was Leather and Lark, I was really excited about because I felt like the characters' storylines were interesting, but I didn't like it. It was hard for me to get into. I ended up listening to it and I didn't enjoy it. I think our female main character was a singer, and then our male main character, I don't remember what he was doing, but I thought this one was going to be my favorite because it also has like a, I think, fake marriage, something fake dating-ish going on in there, and I just did not like it at all. So I'm excited to see about this third one, if I'm going to enjoy it. I do think this one's going to be interesting because our female main character is a circus motorcycle performer, and she meets lonely small town Dr. Fionn after a night of murderous adventure goes awry. And you know, that summary alone is very intriguing. So I'm excited to see if I'm going to enjoy this one. I think it's very interesting. The plot lines that she has in these stories and what the characters do and everything is very interesting. So excited to see my thoughts on this one. This one comes out, I think, February 11th. And then the last one, I actually saw this one on TikTok and I immediately screenshotted it. I'm very excited about this one. It's called The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. The cover of this one's really pretty. This is a fantasy romantasy book. I don't know if it's been announced that there's gonna be a second book, but right now on Goodreads it's just like this is one book. I don't know if it's gonna be a standalone. I have no idea. I haven't really looked too much into it, but it says The Cruel Prince meets The Selection in this captivating, oh, it's a duology. This is the opener, brimming with heart-pounding romance, vicious competition, and beautiful cruel fae, which are all things in fantasy that I love. If you give me a high-stakes competition in a fantasy, I'm probably gonna read it and probably gonna enjoy it. What's interesting about this one is it says that every citizen of England is granted one bargain from their immortal fae queen. High society girls are expected to bargain for qualities that will win them suitors, a rare talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory, a perfect smile for one's ability to taste. So like everything that you want to use in like this society, you have to give something back, and it's like a transaction kind of, which is really interesting. And it says that Ivy's debut season arrives with a shocking twist, a competition to secure the heart of the Queen's Fae son. So really excited about this one. I think the summary sounds really interesting. This one comes out February 4th, so earlier in the month, and I'm definitely gonna read this one. I do have a rule for myself we'll talk about when I get into like my New Year's goals, my New Year's stuff that I want to do, especially the book world, is finishing up series and stuff for my TBR. I don't think I'm going to buy any books or get any of these new releases unless it's part of a series I'm continuing. I want to complete series I'm in the middle of if they're books that are out already and books that are coming out. That's like one of my like top goals next year. So a lot of these books that are coming out are going to be pushed a little bit back unless they're completing a series, because I definitely want to do that before I start any more. Now we're going into March. There's only a few in March, but all of these are pretty exciting. The first one is none other than Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This is part of the Rose Hill series. So these are all single father romances. They're small town, the quintessential Elsie Silver romances. I'm really excited about this one. This one I feel like might be my favorite one. We've got hinted from the male main character and the female main character in the first two books heavily, and I'm pretty sure our male main character is a wrestler. And I saw Elsie repost a TikTok of this guy, and I think it's like inspiration almost, or kind of just like a picture of what she's picturing this male main character as, and it says that she is marrying the enemy, which is Reese, and this one's obviously a fake marriage. They're also enemies. They're angry with each other in a lot of the first two books. You see it on the sideline. It says that they live under the same roof. She swore she'd never forgive him, but that was before she knew the man behind the mask. I love me Elsie Silver books. As we know, Chestnut Springs is one of my favorite series ever. I think it's just she has great palette cleanser reads, really fast-paced reads that you can really immerse yourself in the world. Like I feel like I'm there in Rose Hill when I'm reading the series, or I'm in Chestnut Springs when I'm reading that one. I feel like they're characters that you all, or at least I always think about, and I'm always thinking about her next release that's coming out because I just love me an Elsie Silver book. The next one we have is While We're Young by K.L. Walther, same author as Summer of Broken Rules. This one I'm excited about because it's kind of giving giving Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's about, I think, 3 students that have a little skip day during school. It's about 4 friends whose hearts are broken and mended over the course of an epic senior skip day. This one comes out, I believe, March 4th, and it says Grace, Issa, and Everett used to be an inseparable trio before their love lives became a tangled mess. And Issa has been hanging out with James, Grace's brother, and if Grace finds out, it could ruin their friendship. In an epic day that includes racing up the famous rocky steps, taste testing Philly's finest cheesesteaks, and even crashing a wedding, their secrets are bound to collide, but can their hearts withstand the wreckage? I don't read too many YA books, but I really like her writing style. It's very, very fast paced. These are also kind of like palette cleanser books, and she also throws in a lot of like Taylor Swift references in all of her books, which are fun to like pick out those Easter eggs. So I'm excited about this one. I think if I'm ever in a slump, I'd probably pick this one up, but this one isn't one that I'm like running to pick up, but it's an exciting new release from an author that I've read all of her books at this point, I think. And then the last one for March is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. This is the author of Ready or Not, which is on my 2025 TBR. I really want to read this book. I've heard that it's kind of similar to Out on a Limb with the tropes and everything, and the cover is absolutely stunning, so I definitely want to read this in the 2025, but she has another book coming out. This one says, grieving the loss of her best friend, a young woman's life is turned upside down when she meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again in this heartwarming, slow burn romance. I don't know too much about this one. I just feel like I'm really going to enjoy Ready or Not when I read that, and then I'm going to be excited that I'll have another book by this author to read. So also her covers are so pretty. This cover is stunning. I love the sunset colors. Now we're getting into the 2 months that are stacked. They are so stacked that you should just clear your TBR at this point for those months. Don't even make one. This is your TBR. This will be your TBR for those months. In April, back to back to back to back bangers. We are being fed in April. I don't think you're ready to hear all of the releases we're getting in the month of April. Starting off really strong, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. That alone makes April one of the best months ever. This is about 2 people that I'm pretty sure we met in her recent release, Just for the Summer. There's a little bit of a cameo happening within this, but her writing is so beautiful because she's able to take rom-com and the comedy in the rom-com. She has humor in it, she has the romance and like such a sweet and also heartwarming romance, but she also knows how to pull out your heartstrings and have emotional sides to it and have characters that have so much depth. They feel like real people that are going through real things that you can actually like really connect with, and the way that she can combine everything, it's just so good. And she knows how to wrap up a story as well. I'm so excited about this. The cover is also beautiful. Our main character is a veterinarian. It says he's giving Greek god vibes. It says, after one incredible and seemingly endless date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha is forced to admit the truth that her family's in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. So she begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life and even a love worth remembering. There's nothing I could say about this. I just am so excited. This is the one book, as soon as it comes out, like, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna clear my day so I can read it. And then we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the 3rd book to complete the trilogy of the Powerless trilogy. This one I'm really excited about because the second one let me down just a little bit. I didn't really love it, and as we all know, Powerless was one of my favorite reads. I just really enjoyed it. It has so many tropes that I love in a fantasy book. It was as true just escapism. There was so much banter and tension and fun flirtiness. There was a high stakes competition. Like, it just had stuff that I really enjoyed in a fantasy. And then the second one was a little bit, I don't know, I don't know if it was my expectations because I love the first one so much, but I think there was just like a too much bantering. It's a filler type of book. It just wasn't my favorite. So I heard that the 3rd one is going to be a bit more crazy. Stakes are definitely high. I'm excited to see how she completes the trilogy and see how she finally ends this and has their relationship together. So that's one book I'm definitely looking forward to. And this one was interesting. I didn't really realize that this was coming out or this was announced, but it's called Watch Me by Tahara Mafi. Same author as the Shatter Me series, and this is actually in the same world as the Shatter Me series. I was looking into this and it says it takes place 10 years after the end of Shatter Me, so you probably don't have to read Shatter Me to read this, but I think it would help knowing like the lore and the history of what went down in the Shatter Me series, which honestly really love Shatter Me series. So fast paced. It's like a 10-book series, but it goes by so quick. It's actually very entertaining. It's a dystopian series. Like I said, this one takes place 10 years after the Shatter Me series ends, and it says, James Anderson had a plan or half of one. All that matters is that he managed to do what his older brother, the famous Aaron Warner Anderson, never did: infiltrate Ark Island, the last refuge of the reestablishment. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I actually think I'm going to pick this up and read this because I enjoy the Shatter Me series, and I would love to be back in the world and see what she does with this, because that's one of those series where I feel like it's perfectly completed and it's like you're either gonna make it or break it, bring everyone back into the world. So I'm excited to see how this one goes. And then we have the 4th and final book in the Rubble Blue Ranch series, Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. really excited about this one. I feel like I've said that about every single book so far, but this one, I feel like the tropes and the characters that we've been seeing in the previous books, like these characters on the side, their story sounds like it's going to be really, really fun to read about, because also the same trope I have in one of my other favorite books, and you kind of get a glimpse of them at the end of the latest book, the third book, at the very, very end. I think it's the perfect setup for this one. So if you haven't read Rebel Blue Ranch, I would highly recommend it if you like Chestnut Springs, if you like small town cowboy romances. I'd recommend it in the summertime if you want some like fast-paced cowboy ranch romances. Very entertaining. Okay, this next one's by an author I've read a few of their books. It's called Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. This one is about 3 siblings who, upon the death of their father, are forced to reckon with their long-festering rivalries, dangerous abilities, and the crushing weight of all their unrealized adolescent potential. Basically, 3 siblings are going through so many different things, and they're all trying to, I think, fight over who like gets most of the will, something like that. I'm very interested in this one. I really enjoy Olivia Blake's writing. It's very, very unique. I've never read an author that has like similar writing styles to her. One of my favorites by her is One for My Enemy, and that's also about siblings. That's like a modern day fantasy and urban fantasy. Very, very interesting, but the way she writes and some of her quotes are so beautiful, so I'm excited to see what she does with this. And I really, really liked the cover of this one. This one comes out February, or no, not February, April 1st. And then we have Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford. This is a bittersweet one because it's the last book in the Windy City series, and if you didn't know, you probably do. I've talked about it so many times. One of my favorite books out of this year came from the series. Think about it all the time. Think about that couple all the time. I'm not even kidding. I actually recently went back to the reading vlog I read Play Along in, and I like relived those feelings I got from that book. But Windy City series is a sports romance series. I did not like the first one, but the other ones that I've read from them are so good. I think about them all the time. This one's about a character we've seen from the very, very first book. I cannot wait for them to finally have their happily ever after. It's one of those characters that's part of the found family group and part of like the really close, tight-knit family that they've made from the series, and he just like has not been able to find love, but he's been seeing all of his best friends fall in love and seeing all their stories, so I can't wait for him to finally get his happily ever after. I don't really know the tropes of this one, what exactly is happening in this one. I haven't really read the summary. I kind of want to just like go into it, but we're really excited about this one, and also really sad that it's going to be the last book of the series. Like I don't know what I'm going to do when it's over. I love these books so much. And then lastly in April we have Enchantra. I don't know how you say this, Enchantra? This is by Kaylee Smith. It's the second book in, I think it's going to be a duology. I'm not exactly sure, but the one that comes after Phantasma. These are interconnected fantasies, which is very interesting. The first one I found this year, really, really enjoyed it. I read it during spooky season. It's like a gothic romantasy fantasy, very, very entertaining. It has a high stakes competition. It has phantoms and different paranormal beings. It has the devils that are hosting the competition. It's about a girl who's trying to find her sister within this, so she goes to play the games and different things are happening. So that actually book completes at the end of Phantasma. It has like a rounded out ending, and then this one's about her sister. So excited about this one, excited to see what happens, because I think there's another game that's happening. It's not the same as Phantasma the game, but I really liked the writing style. It was fast-paced and very entertaining. And yeah, this one's coming out pretty soon after Phantasma came out, so I'm excited. Also the cover is really, really pretty. I like the purple and the skull. That's all we have for April. We're gonna go into May. If you thought that April was the only one that was back-to-back stacked, like I said, May could be April in new releases, but we are definitely being fed these 2 months. So we have, starting off so incredibly strong, like there's no other way to start off May without saying this. We have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, her new release. It's gonna feel like Christmas Eve the night before, I'm not gonna lie. I personally think this one's gonna be a bit different from her other ones. I don't really know exactly why I have that feeling. I just do. It's like something I'm just like, I just feel it in my bones. She said this one's kind of inspired, or there's a bit of inspiration from The Last Great American Dynasty by Taylor Swift, so that's really interesting. I'm pretty sure it's about 2 writers that are writing for, hey, maybe I should just look it up. 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping new novel. I don't think I've read the full summary yet. I don't think I'm going to. I kind of want to like go into this one. Her past release, Funny Story, was a 5-star for me, so hopefully this one will also be. I mean, I remember I DNF'd Book Lovers the first time I read it. It just didn't hit for me the first time, and I feel like with Emily Henry books, I always say if you don't connect to the characters, it's kind of hard to connect to the story just in general. So I can't wait to see what this is about, what she does with it, and just to have another Emily Henry book. Like I'm so excited that she has a new release coming. And coming soon. We have 5 months for this one. Okay, then we have One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I really, really love Carly Fortune's covers. They are so summery, they're so beautiful, and all of them next to each other just look so pretty. This one's interesting. I don't know 100% if I'm gonna read it, but knowing myself, I probably will. This is actually about the brother, I'm pretty sure, of Every Summer After, which is just like mind-blowing to me. I don't really know. Okay, I read that book and I really enjoyed it the first time just because it has the same tropes I love from like Love and Other Words. It reminded me so much of Love and Other Words, but like make it summery. So I enjoyed that, but then the ending is just like so mind-boggling for some reason. And now we have the brother, his love story, which I'm just like so interested to see like where these characters are at this point. But her books have been hit or miss for me. Her most recent release, I think it was like Where something summer, I forget what it's called. Was it This Summer Will Be Different or was it Meet Me at the Lake? Yeah, okay, it was This Summer Will Be Different. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a great summer romance. It was a bit more emotional and I really liked that one. I'm not the most excited about this book, but I'm definitely interested to see the story and what she does. Again, I think her books are a bit hit or miss for me, so we'll just have to see. Then we have The Love Haters by Catherine Center. So I've only read 2 books by Catherine Center, The Bodyguard and Hello Stranger, and I loved The Bodyguard. I really enjoyed it. And then I didn't like Hello Stranger like at all. So ever since then, I haven't read another book by her because I just don't know. I'm just like nervous, I guess, because whenever you read a book by an author that you enjoyed and then the next one was like a big miss, you just like aren't like super inclined to read another one. Like I'm not like running to read the next one. So I have the rom-commers by her that was this year's newest release by her downloaded on my Kindle for so long, so I definitely want to read that one before I read her new release. If I do, I've heard good things about it, and again, I want to give this author another chance. I can't just write her off because I didn't enjoy one of her books. So it says that she gets trapped in a lie or two, swim lessons, helicopter fights, conga lines, drinking contests, hurricanes, and stolen kisses ensue. This one seems like it's going to be the perfect summer book, so I'm going to save this one. It comes out May 20th, so like perfect timing getting into the summer season. The cover's also giving just purely summer vibe, so I think I'm going to end up reading this one. I definitely want to read rom-commers before I do because that was her most recent release, but this one seems like it's going to be a really good summer romance. Then we have Annabelle Monaghan's new book, It's a Love Story. I'm so excited. She's a new auto-buy author for me. I found her this year from Bestie Haley and Destiny. They both read her books before me and they really raved about them, so I read a couple of them and I just read all the ones that she has out. Really excited about this one because her books are so... They remind me of Abby Jimenez in a way, if you combine like Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry and then have Annabelle Monaghan's like her touch to it obviously, but she's able to take rom-comminess and a rom-commy type of story and have like the comedy and the humor, but also really realistic characters and have like emotional depth to them where you can relate on some level and they just feel like real people written on paper. It says it's about a former adolescent TV punchline who has left her awkwardness in the rearview mirror thanks to a fake it till you make it mantra that has her on the cusp of success until she tells a lie that sets her on a crash course with her past, spending a week in Long Island with the last man she thinks might make her believe in love. Gonna be so honest, have no idea what that means. Literally no idea. All I got from it is she's spending a week on Long Island, so it's gonna probably be the perfect summer book as well. I can't wait to pick this up and read it on the beach or read it just during the summertime. She has the best vibes in a book and I really enjoyed her latest release, Summer Romance. I think it was so good, and I've also really enjoyed all of her other books, so this one is gonna be a good one. I like feel it in my bones. Oh, you think we're done? We actually have 4 more that are coming out this month. The next one we have is Taylor Jenkins Reid, her newest release, Atmosphere. I think I've grown to really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid writing. When I first got back into reading, I wasn't really into literary fiction, historical fiction, so it took me a bit to continue reading them, and then I read Carrie Soto was back, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Malibu Rising. Like I really enjoyed them, so I'm excited to read this because she writes about things that again I don't think I would be interested in, but the way that she writes it makes them feel so real. Like when I read Daisy Jones and the Six, I was convinced that it was a real band. Like she writes characters that feel like they actually were alive during that timeline and this is their real story, or that time period and this is their real story. So Atmosphere, I'm pretty sure, is about astronauts. It says it's set against the backdrop of the 1980s space shuttle program and the extraordinary lengths we go to live and love beyond our limits. That's all I'm really gonna read. I really like how she writes about really strong women as well, so we have that one coming out in May. And then we also have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is the same author as One Dark Window. I really enjoyed that duology. I think it was very atmospheric. It's like a gothic romance, or no, a gothic romantasy, a gothic fantasy. So I'm excited to have another book by this author. I don't really know exactly what it's about. It says it's gonna be another gothic miscloaked tale, which I loved that atmosphere again of One Dark Window. They're forced beyond the safety of her cloister in an impossible quest to defeat the gods with one knight whose future is beyond her sight. She's a diviner. She receives visions in her dreams from 6 unearthly figures known as omens, and from them she can predict terrible things before they occur. The knight has no respect for her visions, but when her and the fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. So they team up. That's kind of like One Dark Window. Our female main character and our male main character both have to team up to do something, so I'm excited about this one. I love the gothic. Again, it has like the term mist cloaked tale, and that's exactly what I would describe One Dark Window as, so I'm excited to have another book like that by this author. And then we have the third book in the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. This is Love Redesigned, Love Unwritten, and I don't really know exactly what this book is going to be called. On Goodreads it said, oh, it's called Love Arranged. This one comes out May 13th. I don't really remember exactly who this one's about, but I'm sure at the end of Love Unwritten it was hinted into this one. I don't know, but I'm excited either way. I really enjoyed Love Redesigned, the first one. The second one I also enjoyed, but not as much as the first one. But I feel like the second one is a bit more emotional, but also had like the rom-com. Like, I feel like Lauren Asher does a really good job of combining the two as well. The second one was kind of similar to Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Our female main character was a singer. He was a single father, so yeah, I don't really remember exactly who the third one's about, but I'm excited about it because I really like being in this world of the Lakefront Billionaires and like in the setting of it, because it's also the same setting as the last book in the Dreamland Billionaires. And I love reading about billionaires. It's so unrealistic that it makes it very entertaining and very fun. So I can't wait for that one. And then the last one for the month of, where are we? Are we in May still? Yeah, is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is the third book after Before I Let Go, and then I forgot what the second one's called, but that one is a book I definitely want to get to early in 2025. I really enjoyed Before I Let Go, and like I said, I want to continue and complete series, so I really want to read the second one, and then this is the perfect timing for the third one to come out. The first one is about two characters that are years into their divorce, but they're co-parenting, they're co-working together, they both manage something, so it's difficult for them to do all of this together, where they have a history that has a lot of trauma to it, so you kind of see them working through things. But the second and the third one are about our first book's female main characters, like best friends. They have a really sweet friend group throughout the first book. I really enjoyed reading about them, and her best friends definitely have stuff going on in their lives, so I'm excited to read the second and then finally the third book. That is all for May. So many new books coming out between April and May, like I said, and then we have 5 books left throughout the year. So in June we have 3 pretty exciting ones. The first one is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. Her covers are just so beautiful. The colors that she chooses for them are so pretty. This one I don't know what it's about, honestly. Let's look this up together. A hit-making songwriter and a bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that will do anything to shake. All of her other books I've read are all magical realism, so they have an element of magic within them, but it's just like really a contemporary book. But this one I can't tell if there's magical realism within it, because it says they'll finish the song haunting them both, break their connection. So I'm assuming maybe that's where it comes into. They're connected by something, and that's like they have to break that little curse. So I don't know. We'll see. It says it's a musical romance with a magical realism, but I'm not really getting the magical realism from the summary just yet. But I'm excited about it. I didn't love her most recent release, A Novel Love Story, but I do love her writing. I think her stories are so unique and so fun, but they also have like the romance, and they also have some stuff that the characters go through that are relatable. My favorite is The 7 Year Slip by her, so we'll see how this one goes. Again, I really like the cover. The colors that she picks are just always so fun. And then this one I saw, and I think the summary is so interesting. I've only read one book by this author. It's V.E. Schwab's newest release, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. The summary of this sounds so interesting. I don't exactly understand like what's happening, but I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue earlier this year, and I definitely want to read more books by this author. I know she has the Vicious Trilogy. I'm not sure how many books are in that, but I've heard great things about it. So I saw this summary and it really intrigued me. It says 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, one grows wild. All of them grow teeth. It says one woman was 1532, one is 1837, and the other one is 2019, all in different countries. So I'm really interested to see like what that exactly means. But then on Goodreads, the author wrote like a little note underneath it, like she rated it and like put a little review and says, "After Addie, I swore I'd never put so much of my actual self into a book, and then I went and did this. Stripped down to my heart and bones and built a novel out of it." I don't know, the way that she's like describing the way that how much work and how much of herself she put into it has me really excited, and the summary sounds really interesting, even though I don't really completely understand what's going on. But I can't wait for this one. It comes out, I think, June 10th. Then we have a book by an author I've never read, but I have 2 of her novels, and I think it's just her covers always catch my eye. Like every time I see them in a bookstore at any time, like I'm just always looking at them. I think they're so pretty. Again, the colors that they use and everything, like the character art. This one's called Never Been Shipped by Alicia Thompson. I read the summary last night when I was like looking through new releases, and it's about these band that used to be together. They broke up, I think it's like 10 years later. They're having a bit of a reunion, but on a cruise ship, and she used to date one of the old band members, but they broke up so long ago, and now one of the other band members she never really looked at back in the day, but like now she's been looking at him and they have like a thing going on, I think. But it's so interesting because it takes place on a cruise ship. So this one has me really interested. I have, again, other books by her on my TBR and on my physical TBR that I would like to read before this one. because there's no point in buying and reading this one if I have the other one. So I'm going to try to read those first, but I really like the cover of this and I think the storyline and the setting of it is really, really fun and interesting. And then we have a book by an author, I think it's going to be a trilogy, but it's a trilogy by an author that's stepping into this genre, which is really interesting, and it's called Rose in Chains by Julie Soto, the Evermore trilogy. This one I'm so excited about. It's her first romantasy, and I recently read Not Another Love Song by her, and I've also read Forget Me Not, and I really like her writing style. I always say it's very fast paced, and she always adds different elements to it that I really like, but as a contemporary romance, this being a romantasy, I can't wait to see how she does it and like what she does with it. It says, captured as her castle is overrun by the enemy, she knows that the world as she knows it is changed forever. Her brother is fated to be heir twice over and unite the warring kingdoms is dead. Stripped of her mind magic and her freedom, she and the other survivors are quickly auctioned off to the highest bidders in an auction, and as the heir apparent's sister, she fetches the highest price. After a fierce bidding war, she's sold to none other than Tovin. Despite the horrors of her new world and the role she must learn to play within it, all is not lost. Help and hope may yet arise in the most unlikely of places. Again, I don't have much to say on this one. I just think it's going to be really interesting to see how she takes on in the fantasy world, because I've enjoyed her writing in the other books. So this one, I was really excited when I saw that she's coming out with a romantasy, and I really like the cover of this one. I think it's really pretty. And then last but certainly not least, all the way in October, we've got quite a bit for this one, but I am excited about it, is The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. This is the sequel. I think it's only going to be a duology to When the Moon Hatched. It's called the Moonfall duology. Yes, this is going to be the second, and I'm pretty sure the last one. What's funny is I read When the Moon Hatched a few months ago, and I read it so quickly. It was very entertaining. It was very interesting. The storyline out of it was very unique. There was like a whole glossary of terms in it, and I remember finishing it, and a few days later, I just like don't remember anything about it. Like, I can't tell you the plot of it. I can't tell you the characters' names. I can't tell you anything about it. This is one of those books that like in the moment really immersed, pure escapism, really entertained, and as soon as it was over, I can't tell you a thing. So I'm gonna have to look up a spoiler summary on this book before the second one comes out, because I remember finishing it and like absolutely eating it up and like really loving the ending of it. I feel like it really like raised a lot of questions. So I'm excited to see the second one and what's gonna happen in it. If we want to read a little bit of the summary, just so that's not too spoilery, it says, prepare for more danger, magic, romance, and dragons. There's not much of a summary because again, it doesn't come out for a really long time. There's just a bunch of quotes from other people and kind of like blurbs of people's like opinions on it. So all I know about it is there's dragons, romantasy. Like, I don't really remember much about it, but I am excited to read the second one, and then I'll probably read a summary, a little spoiler summary of the first one before I get into it. But I am excited about it because I remember really enjoying the first one. I don't know why, I just like completely like went in one ear or like in my eyes. I just didn't retain anything is what I'm trying to say. So those are all the books that I have on my radar for next year as of right now. I'm sure there are so many other books that are coming out next year that I'll be excited about. So if you have any that I didn't name, please let me know down below so I can add them to my list. And as the months go on next year, I'm very excited to see our new releases. And I feel like books are being released very fast, so I'm sure we're going to be getting lots of other announcements happening. Maybe even when this video is up, or by the time this video is up, there'll be some other books announced, who knows. But let me know if you have any on your radar that I didn't mention, or if you're going to read any of these. Again, I'm going to try to read books on my favorite TBR and complete series before I try to get into any of these, but that honestly makes the anticipation even better, because if I'm trying to finish some series and I know there's a huge release happening, maybe it'll motivate me a bit more. Who knows? But I'm really excited to go into 2025 with everyone and read some more books together, read some new releases together. I also hope you guys are enjoying Bookmas. I've been having so much fun filming all this content, seeing everything being uploaded, so I hope you guys are enjoying. I'm having so much fun, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, just a little sit and chit chat about books, about new releases. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for our next day in Bookmas. Have a wonderful day. Bye!